All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the final video for the Renegades Capture Preview event. Today we're going to be talking about gameplay. So, what was the campaign like? Did you like the exotic mission? What are the locations like? Did you like the Lawless Frontier, etc., etc.? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into our outline. What's going to be in today's video? So, we're going to be talking about the campaign. So, the raw campaign experience that I was able to, play when I was at Bungie. The exotic mission, which I'll just be giving impressions, not allowed to give any spoilers, obviously, so I'll just give you my impressions. Lawless Frontier, which is like the main sort of seasonal activity, I suppose, for Renegades, so, I'll talk about that. We'll talk about the artifacts. I can only give impressions. I'm not allowed to show you the artifact, but I'll give you some impressions. And then Renegade abilities, which are, I'm sure you've seen the trailers where the guy like flips a coin and then tosses a little thing in and some crazy shit happens. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that as well, because, we got to play with those a lot. So that's going to be exciting, and I'll show you some footage. And then some other changes, which I think are some very welcome quality of life changes, as well as a few other things. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. A lot of this video is just going to be footage. So footage of me playing stuff without commentary, so you can kind of get a feel. If you want to avoid spoilers and you don't want to like see parts of missions that you're going to end up playing, don't watch them. But if you just want to see what the Renegades experience is like, I'm not going to include like too long stretches of footage. I'll try to jump from mission to mission and just show you little cuts of what's kind of going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the campaign. So yeah, let's cue the footage.
With the Imperium. Something for us to look forward to.
Shank should make quick work of it.
It's sending back more Imperium data. Looks like Nightfall Station's got some serious shielding. That's a problem we'll have to solve.
I'm picking up enemy chatter. They're moving to intercept you.
Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed watching that campaign footage. I kind of stitched it together from my hours playing, and I hope you got some excitement out of it maybe. And yeah, next slide we're going to be talking about exotic mission. The exotic mission, it's integrated into the campaign as one of the campaign steps, and yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought in terms of exotic missions, if we made like a little tier list and you put stuff like Dual Destiny and Presage and S tier, and then you put stuff like, I don't know, Heliostat and like C or like B tier or something like that, this would be probably A tier, I think. It's pretty good. I think it makes use of a nice aesthetic. I think some of the cinematic stuff was very cool and unique, and I think the mechanics were solid. Were solid as well. So yeah, pretty excited for you guys to play. I think you guys will like the exotic mission. Also, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the lightsaber does not come from the dungeon. I know a lot of people were saying that it was because there was a leak, and also some parts of the trailer that said like forge your Praxic blade or something. The lightsaber comes from the exotic mission. So you will get the lightsaber from the exotic mission, and yeah, the dungeon. There's some other stuff when it comes to the dungeon, but the lightsaber comes. You'll have the lightsaber before the day one dungeon. So that is just a clarification I wanted to make, because a lot of people are saying you can only get the lightsaber from the dungeon. That is not the case. So hope this clears things up. And yeah, I enjoyed the exotic mission, and hopefully you guys will too. Okay, the next thing I would like to talk about is the Lawless Frontier. So the Lawless Frontier, this is like the main seasonal activity. It's basically like a long form, very ad dense activity, I want to say. I'll show some footage on the screen right now. And in the Lawless Frontier, there are a variety of kind of gameplay archetypes that you can go for. There's like sabotage, there's like, a bunch of different sort of themes that you can go for. So, you can kind of take your pick. From what I heard, I didn't play Lawless Frontier too much, by the way, but from what I heard, at least, the mission variety cycles very quickly. So if you do not like the mission that is currently featured for like loot purposes, you can play a different one very quickly afterward. And yeah, Lawless Frontier, in terms of like gameplay, I thought the density felt pretty decent. I think the skill ceiling for players, like in terms of being able to get faster runs if you are a better and more coordinated team, I think that was pretty fair as well. And yeah, I thought it was a pretty fun experience, but again, I didn't play it too much. I'll show you some of the footage. I'm sure you saw people talk about invasions, because that was a kind of like advertised feature of Renegades when it comes to some of this Lawless Frontier stuff. And the invasions, when we were playing them, they were pretty good. They kind of remind you of like a Gambit invasion. I mean, they're named essentially the same thing. Except for what I was surprised is the invaders can actually use Renegade abilities. So it's kind of not like your traditional invasion in Gambit where like, I mean, I'm sure people are going to develop like spawn camping strats and stuff like that, but the invader might join in and they might be in a vehicle. So, it's going to make for some pretty crazy battles. It was kind of comical. I remember Cross invaded us once and he was in like it was like a brig or something. I don't know. It was some crazy stuff. He was in like a brig and he was like shooting us. I was like, where is the invader? Where is he? And my teammates were like, dude, he is the brig. He's in the brig. So yeah, that was pretty funny. I think I probably have footage of that, so I'll throw that on the screen. But yeah, that was the Lawless Frontier. Oh, I don't have a slide for locations. Yeah, locations. I mean, I'm sure other creators are going to cover this, but Thoris's Outpost is in fact a fire team social space. So you're going to see other fire teams and like other people like kind of go into the social space with you, but it's meant to kind of have the feeling of like an outpost where like, these rogue guardians will just fly in and like meet you and just kind of walk around, but it's not going to be hugely populated like the tower. Also, there is no like raw destination this expansion like Kepler for Edge of Fate. I know some people are going to be disappointed by that, but I personally don't like care that much, because like, you know, realistically speaking, like the main way you engage with the DLC is probably going to be through like the seasonal content / activities, and I think that part of Renegades is certainly an improvement on Edge of Fate, because I know, and Lord knows, I don't think people particularly enjoyed, you know, doing Sieve. So, you know, Renegades, I'm sure will probably be more yielding in that regard in terms of replayability. Yeah, I thought I guess I didn't really talk about what I thought of the campaign. I thought the campaign was pretty solid as well. And that's certainly compared to the Edge of Fate campaign. There was no like matter spark or anything like that, where the, you know, like the strangelets and like this whole drawn out kind of fetch questy sort of thing. I thought Renegades felt pretty straightforward. I thought the combat in like boss sections and stuff like that was actually pretty excellent. You still have like your classic Destiny mechanics of, you know, go here, sit on these plates, you know, stuff like that. But I think the iteration on the formula is pretty good this time. You know, one of the better ones, and I had a lot of fun. So hopefully, I don't know about the staying power when it comes to like the replayability of the Lawless Frontier stuff, but certainly, you know, the sandbox looks interesting, and the playing through the campaign was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the artifact. So the artifact, I'm not supposed to share like exact mods with you or like show you the artifact, but I got to see the whole artifact. And I'll say two things, okay? The first thing is this artifact is the most activist artifact we've had in quite some time. And when I say activist, I mean it is very clear in its intention on what it wants you to do. Like it is very like heavy-handed, let's say, right? That's number one. Number two is there are three things that this artifact is themed around. I think I can reveal at least that much. Kinetic stuff, snipers, and swords. So kind of obvious though, right? If you think about it. I mean, the kinetic stuff maybe not as obvious, but you know, they were talking about disorient and the systems changes, and they were mentioning, you know, kinetic part of the sandbox being, you know, needed to be brought up to speed. So that's number one. Number two, snipers. I mean, literally, I told you snipers meditation is going to be an artifact, and they said it in an article. Still Hunt is we're going to work with snipers. Yeah, so that's obvious. Snipers, and then swords. Swords. I mean, if you look at the set bonuses that we discussed last video, pretty obvious. Swords are going to be featured in this artifact. So, you know, with that knowledge, just get ready for that. You know, snipers, swords, and kinetic stuff. So there's a kinetic sword, I guess now, the practical blade, and kinetic snipers like Izzy and New Line Beyond, and the new heavy sniper, wink wink. So yeah, that's the artifact. I'm not gonna get into too specific, but that was my impressions. I think it's gonna be a fun artifact. A lot of weapons that we haven't really seen in the meta, I guess, recently. So exciting stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Renegade abilities. So Renegade abilities, the way that this works is you have a set number of charges of these abilities when you first load into an activity. There's little crates, glowing crates around the map that you can pick up, and they'll refresh your Renegade abilities. So you have, they don't charge over time, at least as of me saying this. I provided some feedback, but they don't charge over time. You have to pick up the crates to refresh them. But they're pretty powerful, right? There's a bunch of different ones. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to show you them, so I'll just show you like all the ones that I used. They're pretty big. And I think something that the devs mentioned when I was there was that they balanced the ad, because I commented, I was like, dude, the ad density of some of these activities is really high. It's like really high. There's like an army of enemies here. And they said, yeah, we kind of balance like the difficulty of the combat around the fact that you have these Renegade abilities, which are very large and very flashy and very explosive. So I'm a fan of that. You know, I like high stakes combat with, you know, powerful enemies, lots of enemies, but then you're also very powerful, you know, in exchange. So that's pretty fun. Again, I'll show you some footage, and I'll stop yapping.
process of interfering with the spider.
Shoot, were you still out there? I'll get the hawk sent over. Just pop a squat for a minute.
Exfiltration vehicle has arrived. All right, let's take that hawk home.
I'm sick of it.
The 9 of Earth 3 is dead. It gave us a prophecy. A death ensures extinction. To survive, you must bind the 9.
Erismorn, you are not the arbiter of what is and isn't safe. Just because you can handle this information doesn't mean everyone can.
This isn't just any information. This is your future. The Vanguard have no right to hide.
Okay, so that was the Renegade abilities. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me, toss coins and stuff. Our final slide today is other changes. There are 4 things that haven't really been talked about too much in the Renegades discourse so far that I want to go over, and I'll just briefly mention them here. So number 1 is ablative armor. There's a new shielding mechanic that's been added to Destiny that is present throughout the Renegades campaign, but I was told that it will also be present in other places in the future, so expect to see this going forward. The way ablative armor works is there's kind of like 2 different, there's like a spectrum of damage in Destiny, right? You have stuff that's high fire rate, low damage per shot, and then you have stuff that's low fire rate, high damage per shot. And so the way that these shields work is that when you hit them with a high damage per shot weapon, not necessarily low rate of fire, but like a high damage instance, it will stun the shield from regenerating, right? So you'll stun the shield, and then the idea is that you swap to a high fire rate, low damage weapon to then strip the shield completely. So basically what this means is this is Bungie's attempt at creating that sort of... I know people have complained a lot in the past about gameplay mechanics, like champions, for example, boxing them into using certain weapons. And I know Bungie has heard that feedback and thought about how can we make combat more about how you play and not what you bring with you, right? So I think this is an attempt at moving into that direction where, instead of it being like, you must use this auto rifle to, stun this champion, It's, or you must bring this element of weapon to not have an awful time in match game. Instead, it's like, yo, you obviously are probably going to have a high fire rate, low damage weapon, maybe, and you might have a, low fire rate, high damage weapon. So now you're going to see the shield and be like, okay, I'm going to bang, I'm going to pop it with this, I'm going to stun it, and then I'm going to strip the shield. The problem I had with this mechanic is that a lot of the time, first of all, a lot of high-level players don't run weapons that have high fire rate. Now, this is not everybody. Obviously, a lot of people love using SMGs and stuff like that, but a lot of the time people are running like Mint Choir or something like that, right? And it's like neither of these weapons are going to be like, high fire rate, low damage. So it is a little bit loadout or like restrictive a little bit, but it's not actually loadout restrictive because of the second point. And the second point is these shields still melt like butter. Like, like I was playing on Legendary and like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like I saw one of these guys, I just like shot it with Mint and he was, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I don't know. It's cool, I guess, but I'm indifferent, right? Like if they made the shielding like mechanic, I think that it was more aggressive initially. If they made the mechanic more aggressive, as in like it punishes you a lot more for not stunning the shield, or it punishes you a lot more in terms of like the shield has way more health if you use like a lower fire rate, high damage weapon, like the damage cap per instance or something is like lower, then it would be more obvious, I guess. But I also think people would complain more. So I'm neither here nor there. I don't think it impacts gameplay a lot. It's like in a middle ground. It's like, it's not noticeable enough to be like, oh, that's cool, I'll play around it. But it's also not annoying enough to be like actually change, I think, how you play. So I don't know, it's weird, whatever. Vanguard orders, yeah, Vanguard alerts are like a separate thing, I'm pretty sure. That's like, nightfalls and basically like nightfalls and stuff like that that are rotating. This is a different thing. This kind of like replaces bounties. The way these work is they auto-complete in your inventory, right? So they auto kind of get picked up. You can replace one if you want, but they also automatically adjust to your gameplay, which I thought was pretty cool. So if it like inspects your loadout and sees that you're running like an auto rifle, then it will try to give you an auto rifle Vanguard order, which is pretty cool. And these automatically complete in your inventory, right? And they queue up, they get stored, and you can claim them all at once, which is nice, unlike bounties. Well, I mean, you can claim bounties all, you know what I mean, right? But like they auto leave the queue is what I'm saying, unlike bounties. And then once you complete a certain number of them, you can get a legendary one, which gives you more rewards and it's harder to complete. And then I think there's also exotic orders, which are like RNG or like one every like many of them, like 25 or something. So yeah, Vanguard orders, pretty cool system. I'm all for not, I don't interact with bounties pretty much at all. I know a lot of endgame players bounty prep. I don't think I've bounty prepped or touched bounties I don't remember the last time I did it, but this is nicer. So I'll definitely do this. I mean, I don't have a choice because it auto completes, but you know what I mean? So this is nice. Arena ops. I don't know if this was brought up yet so far by the time this video comes out, but arena ops are a thing, 6-man portal activities. Stuff like astral alignment, previous 6-man seasonal activities are going to be brought back into this playlist, I assume, or into this kind of under this moniker. And yeah, they're pretty fun. You can play them on GM, you can play them on Ultimate. We wiped one when we were playing together, so that's cool. And then shooting range changes. Oh my goodness. For the nerds out there, shooting range changes. Number 1, orb generator. Look at that. Hey, look in the bottom right. Orb generator, baby. Orb generator. So that's cool. I don't have to run an attrition orbs SMG now if I want surges and I'm testing solo. And then number 2, there's health bars in the shooting range. Dude, there's health bars in the shooting range. Yo, that's like the low-key the change I'm most excited for in Renegades. Like, Still Hunt, Metaiodoxia, like all this other stuff. Who cares, bro? Shooting range, health bar. Yeah, okay. That's just me, though. This is really great, though. Like, I don't have to Templar, Riven, none of this nonsense. I have health bars in the shooting range. Holy moly. Okay, anyways, sorry. Dude, this is sick, though, isn't it? Like, we have still bosses that you can test on in the shooting range with health bars, so you can see chunking. And you can apply portal modifiers. So if you want to simulate contest and go -30, you can. Like, this is beast. Okay. All right. That's it. That's a fun note to end on for Renegades. Overall, I'm hopeful for Renegades. I hope, it'll bring players back to the game. I think the sandbox is going to be a fun one to play in. And I'm hopefully, the game will stabilize a bit and people will trickle back in and enjoy some of this new content because it's pretty engaging. I would say for the most part. And yeah, I'm hoping the launch goes smoothly and hopefully I'll see you all there. Goodbye for now.